Hey there, viewers! It's true that money can't buy happiness, but boy can it help. Did you know the way you handle your finances says a lot about you? People who come from rich backgrounds typically spend more than they need to. Similarly, people with kind hearts tend to spend money on social causes. These are just two examples. We have many more on the way. So let's begin with one of the basics. Number 1. Your financial background. In general, people who come from rich or elite families are used to spending more money. So when they finally leave their parents' nest, they often struggle to make ends meet. They're usually weaker when it comes to handling financial matters, sometimes turning to their family for support. On the other hand, people from lower middle class or poor families struggle during the initial stages of life. This struggle hardens them and turns them into pragmatic people. Needless to say, they're usually more mentally equipped when life throws them difficult financial situations. A lot of successful people start at the bottom of the barrel. Celebrities like Eminem and Jim Carrey are great examples. But not every person who squanders money comes from rich or high-class families. Sometimes even lower-class families fall into this habit. Before we continue, how about hitting that subscribe button and ringing that notification bell so you can stay updated on our latest content. Coming back to the video, let's resume where we left off. Number 2. Your personality. Your financial background isn't the only factor when it comes to money management. Sometimes, even your personality may be a barrier for not being good with your finances. If you happen to be a kind and considerate person, you may also find yourself helping others more than you'd like. Donating to charity can mean less savings for yourself. As a result, you may find yourself held back financially. This may sound weird, but people who aren't as generous often have more money. We aren't saying that you have to be selfish, but going out of your way to help someone isn't always the smartest idea, especially when funds are scarce on your end. Help others only when you can. Since the human personality is a little more dynamic, talking about just 2 personality types won't be enough. This is why we're going to dive a little deeper and elaborate on personality types. The Impulsive Type. This describes most people who run out of dough before the end of the month. Impulsive people tend to spend more money. You can usually find them shopping for material items they don't need. They also spend a lot of money on food that has little nutritional value. Some impulse types also have addiction problems. They spend a lot of money on things that intoxicate their body. The Pragmatic Type. This is the type that likes to spend money primarily on things they think are necessary. They prioritize needs as well as wants, which could benefit them in the future. For example, they wouldn't mind spending an extra few dollars on better shoes for themselves. They would also eat foods that are of better quality and avoid foods that provide little nutritional value. They don't mind spending money. They just understand the difference between value and worth. These types of people are usually better when it comes to managing life. The Economical Type. No, we aren't talking about the miser. We'll get there in a minute. The economic type is rational, but only to some extent. If they're in need of something, they'll buy it, except they won't be looking at the quality of the product if the price is cheap. For them, they don't mind if something comes at a lesser value. They would rather just buy than care about quality. Sadly, their negligence of quality takes a toll in the long run. They end up burdened with repair bills. They may also have big medical bills due to all the cheap food they've ingested over the years. The Miser Type. This is not the type of person you want to be friends with. Forget about you, they don't even like to spend money on themselves. Sadly, they need to pay for the water they drink, food they eat, and internet they use. They're the type of people who would stop breathing if a tax was out on air. That's just how they are. This kind of extremism isn't very rational, is it? Especially if you have big goals that require you to invest financially, emotionally, mentally, and physically. The Goody Two-Shoes. We've also talked about this one. While these people are fun to be friends with, they're actually toxic for themselves. They don't really understand the harm they're inflicting on themselves by being helpful. As a result, they often end up with the shorter end of the stick and find themselves alone when they need others. They could avoid it by being a little more cautious about who they're helping. Sadly, they rarely do that and end up suffering for it. Apart from that, these people are often a little too laid back and irresponsible. Alright, we've gone through the personalities. Let's talk about other factors that often dictate your money spending behavior. Number 3. Your relationship status. Many people don't like relationships due to the amount of money that's often spent. Your spending habits give away your relationship status very easily. As a matter of fact, people who are single spend more money on things they don't need. Meanwhile, people in relationships spend on things that are necessary. This may seem like a small difference, but it does have an impact on their lifestyle. For example, if a single person is to survive on their own, they would have to put more effort into their money management skills. On the other end, a person in a relationship doesn't have to worry about that. Additionally, people in relationships may have a companion with a better grasp of the economy. They can teach the other person, and they can work together for a common goal. Single people only have themselves to rely on, so they don't have that benefit. One thing that helps single people is that they usually learn from their mistakes quickly. This helps them to adapt. Number 4, the things you are afraid of. They say when it comes to money, everyone's the same. Well, not really. Money can show a person's fear. Whether you like it or not, money is tied to anxiety. Of what, you may ask? Of failing to achieve your dreams, goals, and aspirations. Without money, it's harder to do those things. You need it for almost everything. Yes, it takes guts to start a business. It also takes cash. When you realize you may fail to achieve your goals, you do what many people do. You corner yourself. You bury your dreams and don't breathe a word about them for the rest of your life. Number 5, your past experiences. We're all different people with different experiences. Some of those experiences will change the way we live. For example, if you've been conned by someone in the past, you'll be much more careful with money in the future. The opposite can be said for those who've had unexpected experiences, like someone who's just won the lottery. As a result, they go on an impulse spending spree. A wiser person would go through both experiences and treat them just the same. So, how are you with money? Do you know anyone who's really good at handling it? How about someone who's bad? Let us know in the comments below. We would love to hear from you. Enjoyed this video? Hit like, share, and subscribe to Bestie. Wait! What kind of bestie are we if we don't tell you about our other awesome videos? Go ahead, choose the left or right video, and enjoy.